Hello everyone, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 4 of Star Trek Aristotle, an original series game set aboard a logistical ship using the rules by Modifius Entertainment. My name is ELH the Game Master, and joining me are four lovely individuals who we'll meet right now, starting with Mr. Shizno.
Oh man, putting me on the spot like that? Hi Al, I'm Shizno. I play Captain Cullen. He's an eccentric individual, and yeah, that's all I got.
All right, King Cairo, you're up next.
Hello. I'm King Cairo. I play Lieutenant Commander Krell on the Chief Engineer of the USS Aristotle, and nothing else for me to say this week.
How's Krell's love life doing? Does he correspond with the Klingon? You know what? I'm not going to get into it. If you want context, go watch the last episode. It'll make more sense. But yeah, Arwen, you're up next.
Oh man, again, I can't follow a Klingon Boolean love story. Jeez. All right, well, I'm going to do my best here. Hi, everyone. I'm Arwen, and I play Lieutenant Thestral, the Aristotle's communications officer and linguist. And just briefly, if anyone is going to be in the Portland, Oregon area this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I'm going to be at GameStorm 24. Which is at the Holiday Inn Portland, Columbia Riverfront, just playing a bunch of new games. Very excited. And if any of you, I'll mostly be in the Overton and Multnomah room. So if anyone happens to be there, look around, look for my name tag, just says Arwen on it, and say hi.
I like it. One of these days I'll get the gang and we'll take everybody to Gen Con one year, and then we'll just do in-person games the entire time. But that's a pipe dream that I've had for a while if I had unlimited money. But speaking of unlimited money, we go to a man with unlimited talent, Professor Hex.
Wow. That's a bit of a segue. Yeah, hi, I'm Professor Hex. I'm playing Matoga, the security officer aboard the Aristotle, Chief of Security. He's an eccentric character, and that's all I got.
All right.
Sorry, I was ripping off Shizno's entry.
I now see what you were doing there. Very well done. All right, well, let's get that intro video going, and then we'll get started proper. And welcome back. So if you're new to the channel, this is your first time dropping in. If you don't know already, I like having my players do opening logs for Star Trek games, and I believe Lieutenant Thestral has that honor tonight. So Thestral, what you got for us?
Okay, here we go. Communication Officer's Log, Stardate 2201.8. A patch for the Universal Translator that performed well on the test server has caused problems when put into production. Workstation displays that were translated briefly into the Cetalin script of Tokipona, a constructed language that originated on Earth in the 21st century. There were also several hours where the entire crew was speaking with a German accent. Once I learned enough Tokipona, I was able to implement a temporary fix. Special recognition goes to my guide Al, Opus, whose natural fascination with iconography and runes was a big help during the pattern recognition process. He's such a good boy. Computer, pause recording. Who's a good boy? You are. Ooh, someone want head scritches? No, such a good little burb. And now antenna scritches? Somebody's being greedy, but okay. There you go. Oh, look at you. What's this? Ooh, it's a yummy ice grub. Feel it wiggle. Yes, yes, yes. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Okay, little guy. Bird noises that long. I'm sorry. Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
Computer, resume recording. Terminals have returned to presenting information in the lingua franca for the Federation. Unfortunately, the crew on the lower decks are still speaking with a German accent. To their credit, the lower deckers are leaning into it. In fact, some of them have adjusted the environmental controls in Cargo Bay 7 to create a makeshift ice rink and a festive beer garden. They're calling it Das Winterfest and Little Bavaria. Leave it to the crew to make the best of an inconvenient situation. While my temporary fix is stable, a ship-wide solution will require the attention of an engineering team. However, the entire crew is busy preparing for our upcoming mission, so it will have to wait. Even though I desperately want the glitch fixed, the inconvenience is minor, and we so rarely get to do second contact missions, I'm letting my anxiety go, for now, and focusing on the mission at hand. We are on course to the Kentauros homeworld to conduct second contact operations and deliver gifts of sucrose cubes and heirloom carrots. The Kentauros are a large mammalian species with 4 perissodactyl limbs used for locomotion. In that aspect, they resemble centaurs from Earth's ancient mythologies. They value discipline, societal rank, the culinary arts, and a strong military. That last part concerns me. We only need to look at Starfleet's experience with the Klingons to understand the consequences when a mission with a bellicose culture goes wrong. We owe it to everyone who was lost during that brutal time to get this mission right. Computer and log.
All right, you may have momentum for that lovely opening log.
Yay.
So, where we resume our little story here is that all of you are currently on the bridge as you come into the Kentauros home system. And Thestral, you get a little chirp at your station coming from Kentauros traffic control.
Captain, we're receiving a signal from Kentauros traffic control. Shall I put it through?
Did we lose Shizno? Shizno.
Sorry. Mute button didn't want to unmute.
Ah.
Proceed.
Very good, sir. Kentauros traffic control, this is the USS Aristotle. Please come through.
And would you have kept it audio only to your receiver, or would you put it on the view screen? What does that look like?
I'm waiting to see what they're transmitting, and then I will put it on audio or visual.
They actually are transmitting video if you want to receive it.
Yes, Captain, throwing it on the main viewer now.
All right. So appearing on the main screen looks to be a centaur, like Thestral said in the opening log. Does look like your average human half instead of where a horse head would be, and then the rest of the body is a horse. They are wearing what appears to be this kind of resplendent armor that does actually resemble that of Roman legions. So the rankings I gave you to the NPCs, it's very apt because they resemble Roman design. And the Kentauros in front of you does appear to be feminine in nature. And they also have a very long, poofy tail that is swishing behind them agitatedly, excitedly, hard to say. But the Kentauros introduces themselves and says, hello, my name is Legionnaire Kaliana, and I am to help you facilitate the transfer of goods that I believe you have scheduled to deliver to us.
Well, this is Captain Waylon Cullen. Pleasure to meet you. And yes, we will be facilitating transfers. Is there anything else that you may be in need of that we could provide assistance with?
Well, it is my understanding that the good Centurion Anakis is the one that will be handling most of the diplomatic functionalities, but I know that Anakis has already put in a request for a sampling of your cuisine. We didn't get to sample much of it last time.
Okay, if you, I think we can accommodate that pretty easily.
Very good. I am transmitting landing coordinates now. You may come down in a shuttle, or if your craft is capable, you may bring the entire ship down. It is your call.
Understood. Thank you very much.
Transmission cuts off.
Landing coordinates received, Captain, transferring them to the helm.
Is the ship able to land? Out of character?
I mean, we can say it does. It's small enough to do it.
Ooh,
Very well.
we get to do a blue alert. Oh,
Mm-hmm. I am going to make you
All
roll
right.
for the blue alert, though.
uh-oh. Excitement diminishing.
Let's open a broadcast to the whole ship.
Channel open, sir.
Attention crew, we're going to be attempting a planetary landing. All stations, code blue.
All right, blue alert begins sounding. And hey, you just got a momentum from chat, which brings you up to 2. And there's the evil redeem. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you, chat. But yeah, my question is, who's going to actually be doing the helm roll here? Is it Matoga? Is it Krell? Is it Cullen? Is it Thestral? Is it unnamed NPC number 3?
Let's give it to whoever has a good piloting.
Well, the good news, it's a control and a con. And difficulty is only a 1.
I have a 2 in con.
So do I.
Rivers has a 3 in con.
Oh, sounds like it's River's time to shine.
Isn't River's control like horrible though? It's been a while. Let me look at her sheet.
Oh, no, it's a
control.
10.
Okay.
Okay, it's decent. What about you, Matoga? Anything skill you got going on?
My con is 3, but my control is 7, so it's probably not for the best.
Okay. All right. Well,
I do have a 12 control,
Oh, maybe you're our
Ooh.
lucky winner then.
probably. Yeah, I
'cause
think I'm
even,
one.
Even
I
if you
if
got
guys
you,
2
wanna-
con, but 12 control.
If you guys want to land aggressively, I can do that.
I was gonna say, looking at River's sheet, she is rolling against a 13, but she doesn't have a focus here. So
Oh, I don't think I have a focus either. I guess no, because we wouldn't be using warp engines.
nope. Maybe improvisation if you roll a
We
complication.
can try.
You can use warp engines, but it'll be the last landing you ever do.
Yeah, but it would be spectacular. Alrighty. You said difficulty 1?
Difficulty of 1. All right, survey says that is the one success we need to see. So, you do actually, and actually sort of what we see in the intro, that kind of grand sort of building with the Federation logo. It's not displaying the Federation logo quite yet. Spoiler for later. But it's one of those things where we just see this, as you come down through the clouds of this M-class planet, blues, greens, very similar to Earth, very much a hospitable environment for life of all kind. But as the Aristotle flies in towards the main city where you've been given coordinates to land, what you notice is that the structures are larger than anything on Earth. They are so tall, in fact, that they must be using special engineering to keep them from falling over, or how they deal with earthquakes. There's kind of it's, how do I say this? It's kind of one of those things where if a good jostle to any of these structures, like, you would be afraid of them tipping over on Earth. That's how bad it is. But they seem fine. And in fact, as you fly over a multitude of plains and a multitude of fields, you actually do see other Kentauros sparring, training, practicing archery. And in fact, that's what you see a lot of, is a lot of this military function. So you see military vehicles, military practice, and the vehicles are a little bit strange. Instead of like having a tank per se, what happens is the Kentauros actually seem to get on these anti-gravity sleds, and then they sort of lock themselves in so they don't go falling out the back. And then they just sort of like zoom around on these little anti-gravity sleds that have what look to be some form of a disruptor on the front of them. But of course, maybe that doesn't matter if you're nice to the Kentauros, but I am throwing it out there all the same. So Krell, with that one success, you actually land in what is basically Central Park for the Kentauros main city. And it's very clear that as you are settling the ship down and the ship comes to a stop, that it was maybe inches worth of discrepancy here. Had you been not just a tiny bit less precise, you would have hit a building or tree or something would have gotten knocked over. But with your one success, you are actually able to land just fine. Nothing gets knocked over. And at this point, blue alert ends because you've landed on the planet. And it's at this point that a channel is opened by the Kentauros directly to you, Threstrel, at your console.
This is the USS Aristotle. Go ahead, please.
This is Centurion and Nakas. I see that you have opted to land your vessel here. Well done. I see that you have followed our instructions to the letter. We do appreciate that. Please disembark your vessel and bring your crew with you.
I will relay your instructions to our commanding officer, Centurion. Strength and honor, and thank you for allowing us to visit your planet.
Of course. Please also ensure you bring the supplies with you as well.
Very well. Aristotle out. Captain, we've received instructions to disembark our vessel and meet with a Centurion Inachus. And we've also been instructed to bring a select number of crew, as well as the gifts of the cargo gifts. Man, I will learn how to talk someday. The cargo that we have transported.
Understood. Let's get all loaded up and ready to bring down. That's for their weight team. And let's grab the senior staff for it.
Very good, sir.
All right, so
All
obviously
senior staff.
So that includes real
all
quick.
Senior staff. Go ahead.
Cullen, Krell, Thestral, Matoga is I think who's coming down, and then Rivers stays behind as usual.
Yep.
Okay, just want to be sure. All right, so I'm actually looking at a side by side of Kelsey made to decide where the hell the exit ramp is. I think it's on the back, or it's behind the deflector dish. What matters, though, is as you are disembarking from the Aristotle, you are actually greeted by a military procession. It's very similar to, if any of you have played the Yakuza series, where Kiryu rolls up to the Tomy HQ, and there's just line after line of people in dress or people in dress uniform, and they all bow in unison as you walk through the procession. But at the end of this procession, at the end of this line, are two Kentauros. One of them you recognize as Kaliana, the Legionnaire. She has what appears to be a holographic scroll of some kind that she's frantically writing on. And you also see Centurion Inachus, who is represented by definitely a gender-neutral kind of form. It's one of those things where they could go either way, but what matters is they have the golden bars, which you would have known in your briefing, does recognize their rank as a Centurion. And as you approach, I have to ask a very important question. Who is carrying one of the boxes of the special carracks that you were told to deliver?
Before that,
Yes.
Everyone, before we leave the ship, was instructed to be in dress uniform.
Okay.
And,
So again.
well, Cullen's with a cane, so.
Maybe Cullen wants to do a show of strength. Who knows?
Krell is physical activity adverse, so.
Well, look, I'm the lowest rank member among the.
Yeah, we could just do that.
Staff, so I should be the one who does it. Because the Kentauros do respect rank and social strata. It's an important part of the briefing on their culture that we received. So I will lift the box.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. My question is, and I'm actually going to go through each of you in turn. I'm going to start with Matoga. Is I want to know what is going through your mind when you just see this show of military force as you proceed down this procession. Now, again, they're not pointing any weapons at you, but they are armed with a number of ceremonial spears that nominally could do a lot of damage. And the Kentauros themselves are all larger than even the tallest members of your crew. So, Matoga, what are you thinking in this moment?
I'm not going to reveal what Matoga is thinking, but I will reveal what is going on with him physically, like
Okay.
what people could see. Matoga, though he is in dress uniform, he has opted to bring some kind of ceremonial weapon with him, like the equivalent of like an officer's sword or something. Something that's more decorative than it is sort of outwardly threatening, right? But that's something that these people would find respectful of their sort of their military culture, right? But he's this entire time from the beginning, since we've gotten this message about our second contact with this species up to now, has been unusually withdrawn and quiet, and he looks stiff and measured in a way that is completely, anathema to what everyone else's understanding of Matoga has been so far.
Okay. And just so my notes, your ceremonial weapon, left or right hip?
It would be right, because he's going to draw with his left.
Okay. He's a lefty. Oh, that's a
Yes,
note.
he is.
All right,
Love
make
it.
that note. All right.
He's sinister, as they say.
There you
Lefties
go.
represent.
All right. Well, Thestral, you're up next. What is going through Thestral's mind, and anything you would have made of note in terms of personal equipment?
I'm just standard dress uniform, and I'm going to say he brings Opus with him, and Opus has a little metal, a little ribbon around his neck, and a little metal hanging on it, just to dress him up a little bit too. And he will stay perched on my shoulder. And I'm curious. I'm thinking about a lot of things. I'm thinking about how to support the crew during this time. I am thinking about. I'm guessing he's probably focused on the emotion, being an empath and a telepath.
That's what I
What's
was
he
going to
getting
ask
from
next.
everyone? Yeah, what's he getting from everyone?
Yeah. So you're getting a whole lot of nothing, actually. In fact, when you cast your mind out or just do that, safety poke to the Kentauros around you, it's like you are talking to a steel or a brick wall. You are getting nothing. No emotion, no thought, nothing. So either
Oh,
they are resistant to empathy, telepathy, or they are just that highly trained to not even let their thoughts wander.
yeah. My thoughts are going to the conversation I had. In that case, my thoughts are going to the conversation that I had with Colin at the end of last session, thinking about people like Diana Helsing and thinking about the Klingon War, and just concerned that, we don't mess this contact up.
Okay, so has been noted. All right, Krell, same question to you. Anything going through your mind, and any special equipment you would have brought with you?
No special equipment based on the parameters of the mission. He's got 3 things going through his mind. First, that he needs to resynthesize a dress uniform that fits him better. He's noticed it's very tight around the waist, and it's making him feel a bit self-conscious. 2, he's probably drawing subconscious connections between the militarism that he's seen here with what he knows and has been experienced with Klingons. So to probably distract himself from those 2 uncomfortable thoughts, he's focusing on any novel technologies and equipment that might be in visual range, just trying to suss out how it works, what it's for, etc.
Okay. So the one bit of tidbit I'll give to you then is that holographic scroll, the Federation at this time period does have some holographic technologies, but nothing that would let you project a literal transparent holographic scroll between 2 points.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, he would definitely be paying close attention to any holographic technology he comes across then.
Okay. Then finally, Captain Cullen, question for you. What's going through your mind and anything you brought besides your cane?
If anyone's reading Captain Cullen mind, it is an interesting vacation place to be in. Because all that he's thinking about is some lyrics to an old Earth song, and he's just humming them in his head. It goes beep. He goes beep 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 beep. His horn went beep 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 as he's getting closer.
Oh.
But aside for anything else, no, just his cane, dress uniform. Actually, he would have a little box underneath his arm there. It's a little wood box with something inside of it. But we don't know what it is yet.
All right. It'll be revealed at a dramatically appropriate time. Chekhov's box. Everybody make a note of it.
Okay, it is so noted. Can I add one more thing that I like to bring?
Sure.
I'd like to bring, I don't know, a more beefed up version of the universal translator, an external universal translator that communication officers use.
I'm going to make one complication. The chat redeemed. It's still stuck on German.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's fair. I love it.
Yeah. Which will be funny if I actually have to do any German because my German is horrible. But what matters is that as you finally get to the end of the procession and you're before Centurion Anakis and Legionnaire Caliana, Anakis does what appears to be a bow of some kind, but it's not like a human bow. It's one of those things where he dips his front legs, kind of like a horse would, I guess, sort of nod or not buck, but kind of lower themselves to maybe eat or do something. But then he does a twist of his hand in kind of a clockwise fashion, and then he flutters that clockwise motion across his chest from right to left. And he says, "Welcome to Kentauros. My name is Centurion Anakis, and on behalf of Legatus Estadia, I welcome you."
We are very honored to be received and welcomed. I am Captain Waylon Cullen of the Aristotle, and this is my crew. We have Lieutenant Commander Krell, our Chief Engineer, Lieutenant Thestral, our Comms Officer, and Lieutenant Commander Matoga, our Chief of Security.
They look at each in turn, and then they look specifically at Thestral and they say, "Does that box contain the special goods?"
Yes. Yes, it does.
"Please set it before me and open it. I am curious to see what is inside."
Very well. I will just glance to the captain to make sure it's okay.
You get a head nod from the captain.
Okay. So I sense the motion of the captain's head. So I'll put the box down. And is there anything special that I need to do to open it?
Yeah, you just push a button or pop a latch and it opens just fine.
Okay.
So, when the box is opened, there's carrots in there, but they're blue. And I think as you all look at the blue carrots, Anakis kind of actually looks a little bit taken back and says, "What is this?"
Just go look at Thestral for a second. He's like, oh, Thestral?
Sir, is there a problem?
The carrots seem to be a different color than what they should be.
What color are carrots normally?
Not that.
Orange, I think.
Right now they're blue.
Hmm. I can certainly investigate. I can certainly go back to the ship and investigate if these are indeed the intended crates.
It's at this point that Anakis actually stamps the ground in front of them and says, "Let me get this straight. You did not check to make sure that the goods you were bringing us were in date and of the correct genus. You have deliberately brought us faulty product." And Thestral, again, empath telepath going on. You didn't sense anything from the guards. You're getting anger from Anakis for sure.
I sense your anger, Centurion. Please let me assure you that is not the case. Unfortunately, errors in life sometimes happen. I would be happy to try to make this right.
I'm debating if I want to make this a roll. We're going to make it a roll. This is going to be a presence and a command from Thestral, unless Cullen or somebody else wants to jump in to save him. I am going to set the difficulty at a 3 here.
Presence and a command. Difficulty 3. Well, I will definitely be spending a momentum and asking if I can use my social work focus.
Would apply.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Where did that go? Apologies. Oh, went over there. Okay. Using
Can I assist Thestral?
If you tell me how.
Matoga would still be looking stiffly uncomfortable. But however Thestral is going to word this, Matoga would like to follow up with. He has a. He's going to. This may be completely out of left field, but he's going to say something in Latin and hope that it connects to their, vaguely, Roman sort of quality, and see if that helps.
Now, I'm not going to have you actually recall Latin lessons.
Oh, I've got it right here. It's right in front of me.
Oh, okay.
I did some research just in case.
Okay. I applaud you.
Gonna quote some Cicero. But obviously depending on how Thestral's exact wording goes, this may be different.
Okay. Well, let's do Thestral's roll and then we'll do the assist roll to see what's needed. Well, Thestral doesn't need the assist, so I think it's actually going to go very well. Do you still want to do the thing, Matoga, or you want to save it?
I will save it.
Okay. So Anakis still doesn't look very happy, still kind of swishing their tail agitatedly and stamping a little bit, and goes, "You will correct this immediately, Lieutenant Thestral."
With your permission, Captain.
And actually, before the captain can even say anything, Anakis says, "No, I gave you an order. I expect it to be followed."
We will respect your culture and values on this planet, but in terms of rank and social strata within the Federation, the captain is my superior officer.
Lieutenant, that's quite enough. As the lieutenant has pointed out, we do have a chain of command, and it falls to me for this error. I will make sure it is corrected myself personally. I take full responsibility.
And Anakis finally looks at you as if for the first time, Cullen. And he looks you up and down and he says, or they say, I should say, they say, "You are infirm. You walk with an implement."
I do. But it hasn't slowed me down in the last few thousand years of my life.
You claim to be long-lived, and yet, with but a simple command, that life could end.
Any life can end with a simple command. Such is life.
Cullen, it is time for your presence and command. Difficulty of 3. And Matoga, you may have your Latin back up here. We'll find out together.
Cultural studies, negotiation.
I'd give you both.
And I will take a momentum.
Okay. I think that is the last of the momentum you have at the moment. Okay, so we are going to need an assist from Matoga here.
Okay. Matoga will again stiffly step forward. He will assume a sort of defiance, not the right word that I want to use here, a steadfast sort of stance, like, chest out, chin up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he will say, Hodi mihi cras tibi, which in Latin means today it's me, tomorrow it will be you.
Okay.
Talking about how life is ephemeral and so on and so forth. So what kind of roll would you like me to make for that?
I will let you do a presence security, and since it's an assist, remember you're rolling 1 die here.
Yes, of course, 1 die. Can I? No, I don't necessarily want to intimidate them. But I'd love to use the focus.
I'd say it's apt in this case. You're not directly intimidating, but your statement could be seen as such.
Certainly, yeah. Okay, well let's go with that then. Focus and 1 dice.
2 successes, you actually get a point of momentum back. So, in an odd twist of action here, kind of a twist in the narrative, Anaka stops looking at you, Cullen, about halfway through your I apologize, I'll fix this, and looks dead on with Matoga. And Anaka says, "You speak the high language."
It is true. I have some versatility in that tongue.
And they sort of stroke their chin. "I'm willing to overlook this," and they motion at the canister of blue carrots. "I am willing to overlook this insult. However, it is you who I will be dealing with, Matoga, not this captain of yours."
Matoga looks visibly uncomfortable. But he will nod, respectfully.
Now, of course, I have to ask 2 people 2 very important questions. Krell, what have you thought of this entire situation?
He doesn't really know what to make of it. It seems like they're very stuck or very hung up on protocol and have some type of not bias but a hierarchy based on physical ability. So he's getting very big Klingon vibes from them.
Okay. And then Cullen, how do you feel about this? Because this is now the second or third time that your command structure has just been thrown completely out the window.
Really, it's his role as a teacher to let others come into their own. So, annoyed, sure, at the whole weird blue carrot issue, but concerned and a bit of intrigue, though, at Matoga stepping up like this. Concern for, he doesn't know Matoga that well. He doesn't know how he's going to handle this. So he's really a wild card in his head. But he's intrigued, though, to see how he will handle it, though, and see if he can step up.
Okay, I like it. So, Anoxis is going to motion at Caliana and says, "Legionnaire, see to it that the..." And he kind of kicks at the crate of blue carrots. "See that this refuse is replaced, and then join us in the resplendent regatta when you are done." And Caliana kind of almost meekly kind of says, yes, Centurion, I will see it done. And then without even sparing a glance at her, Inakis starts walking and motions for Matoga to follow.
Cullen will give Matoga a head nod. He's like, all right, you three go on. I'm going to go investigate what happened to the carrots.
And
Matoga will
actually,
nod back and follow.
Kaliana, as you say that, Cullen, Kaliana kind of actually holds up hand and goes, sorry, when he motioned at your lieutenant commander, he meant only the lieutenant commander. Sorry.
All right. It is customary among our people to at least have another company.
I mean, you are willing to test Inakis' patience, but you do so at your own peril.
Matoga will take a step forward and then turn back to the captain and say, there is no need for that, Captain. I will perform my duties as you expect.
I'd still like someone to go with you. Thestral,
Sir.
you'll accompany Matoga?
Aye, sir.
Matoga will turn to Kaliana and say, let it be known that the lieutenant accompanies me as my aide, my subordinate. Is that totally understood?
Perfectly. And in fact, you notice that her eyes dart between your rank insignia and Thestral's, and then she actually kind of nods a little bit, like she accepts this.
Very well, let us proceed.
All right. So we're going to bounce back and forth between the two. So we got Thestral and Matoga working with Inakis, and I do apologize. I'm doing my best to get the they, them right. Please feel free to tell me to shut up and say the right pronouns. Meanwhile, we'll have Krell and Cullen going back to deal with the blue carrot issue. So we're actually going to handle the blue carrot issue first, because I want to give Matoga and Thestral a moment to collect their breath and figure out what to do about Inakis. So Cullen and Krell, you are able to get the box or the crate of blue carrots back on to the Aristotle. And what would you like to do with it, per se?
We take it to sickbay.
Take it to sickbay. Okay.
Yeah, are they like blue because they're moldy, or are they just blue carrots?
Well, would you like your good doctor to tell you, or would you like to roll a reason medicine to find out?
Do they have any like visible fluff on them, or did?
I would say they
carrots?
don't look moldy. They don't look like
Okay.
things are going on them.
They just kind of look like blue carrots? All
yeah,
right.
like they just look like normal carrots, but they're blue.
You know what?
Classic Star Trek alien food. Dip the
Colin's
dip the regular food in paint.
Colin's going to grab a carrot and eat it.
You're just gonna straight up eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he sees Captain Cullen reaching in for it, he attempts to stop. Captain, no. Oh.
So, Cullen, I need you to roll me my favorite roll in this system, a fitness medicine at a difficulty of 2.
Let's see. I don't think I have anything for this.
Nope, I don't think you have a focus, unfortunately. But you get your 2 successes anyway. Well done. So, you bite into it, and you ever had like a bit of wasabi before?
Yeah.
So imagine you just bit into the highest grade wasabi there ever is, and you have a full mouthful of the stuff.
You see the hand that's gripping his cane, the knuckles just go white as he's just really squeezing it. And he's just looking up and just nodding his head like he's counting something. He's just not looking at you as he's proceeding to finish chewing off what he just ate.
Krell looks, sees this, and does it? How's it taste, Captain?
He's gonna look at you for a moment, and the stare you get from him is like, he's looking at your soul. He's looking past your physical existence and right at who you are. And he's like, you should try one.
At that, well, actually, Krell's probably seen this look a lot. This is the look of a non-bullion trying bullion food. So yeah, Krell would go in and pick it up and take a small little bite of it, chew a little bit, let the flavors go across his palate before you see him visibly perk up and take another much larger bite out of it and be like, "This is amazing."
At this point, I think the tears finally start coming out of Cullen's face as his face turns red. It's like, okay, we need to find out why this happened. Or who did this. And I need some milk.
He's like, "Oh, but then you're going to not be able to get all the flavors out of this," as he through multiple bites. You actually see him pick up a few more to put in his pocket.
He's going to walk over to a console and he's just going to hit the comms. And he's like, River, you there?
Yes, sir. Is everything all right?
It's really spicy food. I need logs of who was supposed to be keeping an eye on the carrots and where they came from. And milk. Lots
and milk,
of milk.
yes. I will bring the report and the milk right away, sir.
On the double.
And because I'm an asshole, I'm actually going to spend 2 threat to say that she takes a while. And when she finally appears, she says, "I'm so sorry, Captain. The turbo lifts were malfunctioning."
Any other time, Treason, hanging, you just gotta grab the milk.
Yeah. Since you're busy with the milk, River does actually hand the pad of, the chain of custody, as it's called, to Krell to look over. So I don't know if I've ever asked this, and if I have, I apologize, but does Krell have any, logistics work in his backstory at all, or has done logistics, that kind of thing?
Probably during the course of the war, but it wouldn't have been a major focus of him. Actually, he might have the most experience when he was working before he joined Starfleet and when as a teenager with his family's well, man, what's the word I'm looking for? Dry dock.
Okay. So for you, I'd like you to roll me a reason, and I think this would be a reason and command.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that based on your backstory, you may not have an explicit focus, but I'm going to give you a focus on this one. And the difficulty here would be a 1.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna wing it on 2 dice. Let's see here. There we go.
All right, you get your 1 success. So the Aristotle is designed as a get goods and people from point A to point B. Logistics is what the ship is meant to do. So the chain of custody is actually very clean. But what you notice is that whomever beamed the carrots, quote unquote, onto the vessel, there was a momentary, shall we say, glitch in the Heisenberg compensator of the transporters. And let's say a shipment of actual wasabi was kind of merged with the carrots. And nobody had caught the issue until just now.
Captain, he's still eating the carrots. I think I found the issue.
Yep, go ahead.
Heisenberg compensators failed. We're really lucky we weren't beaming live cargo or personnel.
Failed how? Whew.
It seems to have combined the intended carrots with something called wasabi.
Right. Okay. Are all the carrots like that?
Let me check.
They are.
Yep.
Okay. Talk to the chef. See if he has any fresh unwasabied carrots. Also, that would be an awful thing to have happen to like a security officer or a diplomat of any nature, just being fused into one entity. Just imagine the ethical dilemma you'd be in.
Whoa. Yeah, no, definitely. Request, sir.
Mm.
Can I synthesize more of these carrots? They're quite good.
Once we get normal carrots, go ahead.
Wonderful.
You can have the whole shipment as far as I'm concerned.
Well, thank you, Captain. All right, I'll patch into Arnold. What's his actual Chef Arnold?
Chef
We'll say.
Arnold. Yeah.
Yeah. Commander Krell to Chef Arnold.
And you hear like muffled shouting, and I'm gonna attempt to do Arnold but German at the same time. So I apologize in advance for what's about
Basically,
to happen.
just Arnold accent.
I think you mean
He's
Austrian.
already Austrian.
Yeah, but I mean a little bit more. And he goes, "I can't understand why the hell this milk is not coming out correctly. Why are you failing me, Bessie? Do you not understand the gravity of our situation?" Oh, Lieutenant Commander Corell, how can I help you?
Have I interrupted something?
I am just having a conversation with Bessie. She is not providing the milk that is necessary to this mission.
I wasn't aware there was any request for chocolate milk.
You must understand that the Kentauros have very strict guidelines. I have been reading everything from first contact. If you do not provide the correct food, it could cause an international or interspecies incident.
Huh. You know, it's funny you say that. Because we just had a bit of a transporter glitch that turned all of the carrots that we were transporting over into this wonderful concoction of wasabi. I'm not aware of what that is, but yeah, it's turned them into wasabi carrots. They're quite lovely.
I'm sorry, did you say carrots and wasabi?
That's what the spectrogram said.
You must give me a moment. I am just comprehending the cultural and culinary desecration that has occurred. Very well, what can I help you with? You need more carrots.
Yes, but we should probably not use the transporters. So, 1 second, and I'll have Lieutenant Folis come transport them or bring them off the ship.
Very good, I will wait for Folis. Chef Arnold out.
All right. Then Commander Crowded, Lieutenant Folis.
I forget, did Folis have a voice? I don't think he did. Or they did. I forget.
I think it was just like a grumpy Talarian-esque
Oh,
voice.
that's right. He
Nothing
was just grumpy. That's right.
Yeah, as Talarians are.
Yeah. And Folis says, "Yeah, what do you want, sir?"
I got an important mission for you. I need you to go help Chef Arnold unload a bunch of fresh carrots.
Oh. So I went to Starfleet Academy for 4 years of my life, served on various vessels, and you have me transporting carrots.
Yes, that's one of the pleasures of being a superior officer, Folis. We can boss around the people we don't like.
Yeah, I hate you too, sir. I'll get it done.
Does the captain hear this?
Yes, you hear all of this.
Yeah, you'd hear all of this. Oh, right. Before I go, after that, I'm going to need you to check out the Heisenberg compensators because we just had between you and me, quite a catastrophic failure of them. And let's put it this way, if it was a crew member who had been beamed over, the entire engineering department would probably be dishonorably discharged.
Oh, so, average Tuesday for us then.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, well, I'll do your carrot thing, and then I'll go check out the transporters.
Yes, the carrot thing's definitely the more crucial point. Crucial, those two.
As much as I hate you, I can't actually tell if you're being sarcastic there.
No, that was serious. We apparently just skirted by a diplomatic incident.
Oh, well, that's lovely. Yeah, I already like these Kentauros. Get along with them just well. Yeah. And then the comm just
I'm
shuts
not.
off. It doesn't even give you a chance to reply. It just shuts
in
off.
between, it is. He just looks at the communicator for a second, just shakes his head slightly, and turns to the captain and says, "Captain, Arnold should be down with the fresh non-transporter transported carrots."
Good, we can get that sorted. Do you think they would like dip with it?
I don't know, but if we're feeling adventurous, we could have them bring over some crates of wasabi too.
No, I was thinking Caesar dip.
Meanwhile,
With
with the
anchovies?
Railway team, we return to Thestral and Matoga, following in the wake of Inachus, the Centurion. And the Centurion actually leads you to what would be basically this grand gazebo, but it's not like a human gazebo. It's like a gazebo for centaurs. So it's very much large. It's very expansive, high ceiling, a lot of open sort of ways you could run off the gazebo. But waiting for you in the gazebo is a even higher decorated Kentauros. She stands a full 2 heads above the Centurion in size. Like, this is the difference between a normal horse and a Clydesdale horse, if you've ever seen the difference between those. Very, very big Kentauros looking at you. And she is wearing the most ornamented, I hate to use the word resplendent again, but I think it's a good descriptor. The most resplendent armor you've ever seen. It's not like God Emperor of Mankind levels of gaudy, but it's pretty close. But the Centurion does that same sort of motion with their hand and the slight bow and says, "Legatus Estadia, I bring to you Lieutenant Commander Matoga and their menial."
Matoga will return the gesture, the traditional Kentauros gesture,
Mm-hmm.
to the best of his, non-horse ability.
Would you like to make a roll for it to maybe get some momentum?
Yes, I would.
Okay, this is going to be a control and con difficulty of 0, so free momentum as long as you don't roll complications.
Control and con, okay. Nope.
Okay. Well, it's a difficulty 0, so it still happens. You just don't get any momentum for it, unfortunately. And then, anything following the greeting?
No, I think Matoga would just, this is the big cheese, so I think he would just wait for, Astadia to make her her desires known, let's say.
Okay. So Astadia looks between Matoga and Thestral, and then quirks an eyebrow, and she actually reaches up and pulls off her helmet, and very much like stereotypical like biker chick taking off her helmet, just the swaying back and forth of this long, beautiful hair, black in color. She just kind of looks at you with these startling green eyes and says, "Interesting. You bring to me, Centurion, not a captain or a diplomat. You bring me a lieutenant commander and a lieutenant. Can you explain this for me, please?" And the Centurion actually kind of kowtows a little bit, I think is the word I want to use, but kind of capitulates and goes, I must apologize for what must seem a rudeness, Legatus, but these two were the only ones that had any notion of worthiness to speak with you. And the Legatus just kind of quirks another eyebrow and goes, I see. Well then, Lieutenant Commander Matoga, was it? And I didn't get your name, Lieutenant?
Lieutenant Iris Festral.
I see.
Legatus.
Well, I understand you are here to deliver not only goods, but whatever your Federation qualifies as a second contact mission.
Matoga will nod very sort of deeply, obviously, but he will still not say anything because he's operating on the assumption that silence here might equal strength.
Roll me a presence security difficulty of 1. And I think your improvisation focus actually definitely applies here. Or wait, no, it's not you with improvisation. It's someone else. It's Krell with improvisation.
Yeah, I didn't
I can give you intimidation, though.
I didn't go to the Groundlings Theater, so I don't have the improv focus. Yeah, I'll do intimidation. Why not? Okay.
There you go. 3 successes, bringing you up to 3 momentum. Well done. So, your show of strength in silence, as it were, actually seems to impress the Legatus. And the Legatus's hardened sort of facial expression actually loosens a little bit. And they actually motion at what appears to you to be a very long stool. They say, please, have a seat. Perhaps we can discuss things in more comfort than standing.
Matoga will make a formal, a process of, like a guard at Buckingham Palace, or like a trained Marine or something like that, doing a sort of he'll take his officer's sort of like ceremonial sword off and present it. He'll turn to Thestral and sort of non-verbally bid him to take possession of it, and then he will go sit on the stool or the bench.
And it's actually interesting because the Legatus does similar with another bench, and it is actually designed even for a Kentauros of her size, for her to basically sit down, more or less, to literally take a load off of her hooves. And once you are seated, she actually calls over an attendant, says something, and says, I understand that the Federation has interest in Kentauros. Tell me, your United Federation of Planets, what is your goal for Kentauros? Are we to be neighbors? Allies? Members?
Matoga will take a moment and say, your participation in the Federation's unity is, of course, at your discretion. Though I should say that we desire firm cooperation with you in all matters, if it be your wish, as the ancestors of the peoples who make up the Federation have once said, per unitatem vis, through unity strength.
She looks over at Anarchus and says, Anarchus, you didn't tell me that they spoke the High language. And Anarchus kind of scratches their head and goes, I'm a bit curious about that myself, Legatus. They seem to know a language that I believe was only known to us here on Kentauros. Now, Thestral, in that silence, what are you thinking? Because I know what you're probably thinking, but I want to hear what you're thinking.
Oh, well, Thestral is fascinated with it's must be more than a coincidence, given their cultural presentation, and the fact that their high language resembles Latin. My head is going all kinds of places. I don't know too much about Earth history, but I am wondering. I have read with fascination the mythology of the centaur, and just how that was around. Thestral has an idea that it was around that same period, but probably not sure. He definitely wants to talk to Captain Cullen at some point because he was probably there. Um, and just
Colin's actually the one who made the myth. He's the one that penned it down and is like, yes, this is a centaur.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So that's what I'm thinking. I'm also thinking, how can I be the best support to Matoga? So I'm following his lead. I'm always staying at least an arm length behind him.
mhm.
And when he sits down, I will focus on how the other Kentaurans recline, or if any of them or if they kneel down like horses do in the field.
Mhm.
And I will do this. I will mirror the same actions to the best of my ability as a biped.
Okay. Now, something you said earlier, according to my notes, is that you took a special form of the universal translator.
I did, yes.
Would you, and I'm just throwing this out there as an option, would you
It
like
is
to
still stuck in
see?
German.
It is still stuck in German, which is interesting.
Just the accent.
But based on what you've told me is your thought process, would you perhaps like to try, I don't know, speaking in the high language?
I'm nervous because of the glitch. But no, that would be presumptuous of me. Um, I want to keep it as a plan B in case I need to.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Because he's the star of the show, and I'm just supporting him.
Okay.
But if I need to speak the high language, I will use a combination of my own inherent linguistic abilities and the universal translator.
Now, I'm actually looking at your values here, and I'm going to offer you a deal. If you want
Ooh,
a point of
okay.
determination that will carry across all sessions until you spend it,
Uh-huh.
I will give you a point of determination if you succeed the chain of command that has been established between you and Matoga and speak to the legatus directly in the high language. And I'm calling upon your value here of I finish what I start in order to call that into play. Now, you don't have to take this deal. You could simply just continue to let Matoga go, but I am interested to see if you will take this deal.
No, I'm not going to, and here's why.
Okay.
This isn't my mission.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the cultural expert I'm one of the cultural experts on the ship, and I know it's important how important the Kentauros value rank and station. So I believe I would be jeopardizing the mission if I spoke without checking with Matoga first.
Very well done. You have seen through my clever ruse. You may have your determination anyway.
Oh, sweet.
So, returning to the conversation with Matoga then. The legatus looks at the Centurion, then back at you, Matoga, and goes, tell me, this high language that you know, is it something that the Federation teaches all of its citizens?
It is not essential to everyone's base knowledge, but it is encouraged as a means of expanding our Federation members' linguistic and cultural capabilities. It is a jewel in our crown, and as you may well know, suos cultores scientia coronat. Knowledge crowns those who seek her.
And you can see that the legatus is actually very impressed. She actually kind of puts a hand to her chin and kind of strokes it a bit and goes, I can see now why you brought this one before me, Centurion. Though there is the matter of answering the question which we've kind of danced around. As you well know, Lieutenant Commander, we are a warp-capable species, just as yourselves. We haven't expanded all that far outside of our bounds of, or perhaps our sphere of influence is perhaps the correct way to phrase it. But I believe at some point or another we will brush shoulders with your Federation if we expand just a little bit further. So I ask again, are you seeking to be our neighbors? Are you seeking for us to join your Federation? What is it that you, and she puts emphasis on you, what are you seeking from this contact?
Toga will take a breath, and then we'll say, may I be perfectly frank with you, Legatus?
I expect nothing less.
I speak for myself, not for the Federation, not for my subordinate, not for my captain, for myself. I am afraid of your people.
In what way?
I see your strength physically. I see your discipline. I see the trappings of your military culture, and it frightens me. But I know both myself and the world enough to understand that fear is an invitation. An invitation to subsume that fear, to conquer it, and to, in doing so, join with a strength potentially greater than my own. I believe in peace through superior firepower. Imagine what the two of us, both ourselves and by extension our organizations, our peoples, the Federation and the Kentauros, what we could be capable of if we but join our hands together in security and in battle. Our fear, my fear, our trepidation could turn into unity and security for the greater galaxies.
I like it. Just debating how much of a role to do here. Why don't we do presence and command? So not the best stats for you, but still decent. And you do have 3 momentum, so I'm going to set the difficulty here at a 4. And you also have determination.
That is true. I do have that.
May I assist?
If you tell me how.
No.
Sure. Okay.
How dare you?
So I have a talent called Insightful Guidance,
Mm-hmm.
which I can link. I don't know if this counts as a social conflict or not.
This would definitely
But-
count as a social conflict.
All right. So if I assist him, we can have an advantage if it's successful.
Correct.
I think. Yeah. In addition to the normal benefits of the assist. So telepathically, I would be supporting Batoga. You're doing great. You are full of surprises.
Oh, you just got a momentum from chat. Thank you, chat.
Hey, you are full of surprises. Your strategy is working, and your instincts are correct. They are highly disciplined, where I can hardly read their emotional state. Is it possible to read the Legatus's what her emotional state is right now?
No, she's another wall against you, unfortunately.
She's on another wall. How about the scribe? Is the scribe nearby?
The scribe is still waiting for Cullen and Krell back at the Gangplank 2, the Aristotle.
Okay. And what are people who support the Legatus? How are they feeling?
again, walls, but you are definitely getting the emotion from Anakis. Anakis has calmed down. They aren't as angry as they were before, but it's now kind of a smoldering fury, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to tell Matoga, most of the room is pretty difficult to read, but the individual who met us, they have calmed down somewhat. So you're doing pretty well so far. Is that enough to help him?
It is. I'll give it to you. So
right.
you will
And
be
what am I rolling?
assisting. For you, it would be a presence science, I believe, and then Matoga is still doing a presence and command, and it is still a difficulty of 4.
All right. And may I use my social work focus?
You will, yeah.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
there's 1.
There's
So
1.
you get an advantage too, Matoga.
Yes. Because I think it is appropriate, and it highlights something that just changed recently. I am going to use that point of determination, and I am going to invoke my new value because it changed last time. Previously, I had the value, everyone is the architect of their own future. Now the value reads, we are the architects of our future.
Very important distinction.
Yes. And so I'm invoking that to give myself the
2 free
auto
successes
crit.
to start.
Yes. All right. And then I think I would like to use 10, 11, 12, thinking math.
It would be 2 momentum for a third die. It would be 4 momentum, 1 threat for 4 dice that you would roll.
Yeah. Let me this is very important. So I'm going to take, if it's all right with everybody, I want to get 2 more dice out of this so that we can get a total pool of 4, one that's already at crit, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's a pool of 5 that already rolls a crit, but when you hit perform task, just make sure you check use determination and put the number at 4, and it should give us all 5 dice.
Right. Okay. And did we determine whether or not any of these focuses applied?
I don't think you have a focus, unfortunately.
That's fine. All right. So how many dice am I setting?
Set it to 4 and make sure you have the using determination and value box check.
Got it. All right, here we go.
Okay, well, you knock it out of the park. That is a grand total of 8 successes. So that 4 momentum you just spent, you get it all right back immediately. So before I say anything, you are considered to have an advantage. Now, what do you want that advantage to be in the narrative?
The advantage is that in establishing a good rapport with the legatus, and I've already sort of impressed her with my knowledge of the the high language, as she says. I want to formally demand that Centurion Inachus apologize at length to Lieutenant Thestral for his disrespect of my subordinate.
Okay. Well, with that many number of successes, I think the legatus is going to nod at what you've all just said, and she's actually going to say a little bit of the high language herself. There is a saying, Veribius ad timidos, or strength to the fearful. I like what you're saying, Lieutenant Commander, and I see that perhaps Inachus, though perhaps in foolhardy judgment, brought you to me instead of your captain. Perhaps by happenstance, the Federation has sent their best. And then the legatus looks directly at Inachus. Inachus, have you been following the proper diplomatic protocols? And you can see Inachus's, and you would sense nervousness, Thestral, as Inachus goes, of course, my lady, you are stammering, Centurion. Did you follow protocol or not? No, Legatus. Then you will apologize immediately and consider yourself frocked from further duties. Is that clear? Yes, Legatus. Do not stammer. Apologize and be gone from my sight. And then Thestral, in a very not begrudging, because if he shows begrudgment, he knows he's going to get, or they know they're going to get yelled at again. Inachus is going to apologize, is going to basically say, I'm sorry, I screwed up, I should have been nicer, I shouldn't have said all those things. And it's one of those things, like, at least in my mind, like, this is maybe gratifying for Thestral after how he's been treated so far.
Thestral doesn't have much of an ego, but as an Enor, he doesn't have much of an ego. He's from some collectivistic culture. But he certainly appreciates forgiveness and making amends. So I think what Thestral will look up and over his shoulder, and he will say, "You and I have much in common in that we were both looking after those under our charge. I accept your apology. Do not let it happen again."
Nakas bows their head and says, Of course, and please extend those same words that I gave you to your captain. I am not worthy to be in his presence. And then, unless anybody stops the Centurion, Anakis will depart in a slight rapid trot, as it were, as they go off to probably be disciplined later. But that's their problem. So, it's their fault. But the moment they're gone, Legatus is going to now look at you, Thestral, and it's actually going to narrow their eyes on your universal translator and goes, So this is the universal translator I've heard so much about. Tell me, what languages does it know?
It knows thousands of languages from the Federation and beyond, and it has the capacity to make inferences and linguistic connections to calculate the most likely translation of an unknown language as well, once it gets a sense of the matrix with which it is working. Legatus.
Interesting. We have nothing like it here on Kentauros. I am eager to see how it works. Or perhaps I suppose it's already working, since we are conversing in the Kentauros natural tongue. Interesting. So it's not that you had spies among us, as some of my Centurions feared. You simply have a bit of technology that we don't.
No, but if I can also follow my superior's example and say, I don't typically like to depend on this technology. So I have learned some Kentaran myself as the ship's linguist and communications officer. That is part of my duty.
She actually kind of does that, like, nod of respect and goes, Very well. I cannot apologize on the Centurion's behalf, but perhaps we should reset matters. Please, return to your ship, return to your captain, and I will come to meet you in 1 hour system time.
I'm going to politely, telepathically nudge Matoga to respond, because I shouldn't be the one who responds here.
Of course, yeah. Matoga will nod deeply again, say nothing. He will get up from the seat. He will sort of do the reverse officer's sword, rearming kind of process.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I will hand it to him.
Once again, kind of give the Legatus Kentauran gesture, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then depart.
All right. So this is where the party is going to come back together. At this point, Cullen, you maybe are still feeling the effects of the wasabi just a little bit, but the milk has helped greatly. Krell, you've had a chance to personally look over the transporter buffer yourself. You are assured that you should be able to beam things safely, but you might want to still tear apart the system. That's your call as an engineer, though. But what matters is Thestral and Matoga have returned at this point, and I do want to give you all a moment to compare notes in character before meeting with the Legatus again.
So I know as we're walking back, I'm saying to Matoga, so, you know Latin?
I know enough Latin to get me through certain tense negotiations, let's say, with the high-minded types. Don't ask me to ask where the bathroom is or order something at a restaurant.
So you're full of surprises, huh?
I don't think it is a surprise if you are paying attention.
He nods. I don't normally like surprises. This one was a pleasant one.
Well, please do remember that the next time a surprise happens and it is not so pleasant.
Well, that's how the universe works, doesn't it? We can't understand the unknowable mysteries.
It must be a mystery because why the universe decided to throw me into a culture comprised entirely of horse people is it's insane to me. It's as if they don't understand. I'm afraid of horses. They are powerful and frightening, and they can crush your head with the hoof. And it's not why me? Why am I here? It doesn't matter.
You could argue that you were here at the exact place at the exact time where you were needed the most.
Yes. Well, I consider it a small miracle that my dress uniform has not been soiled.
We should go report back to the captain. If I know him, he is concerned about how things are going.
Yes, perhaps rightfully so. And I will have a lie down.
I think you've earned it.
All right. So as Matoga takes a breather, Cullen, where are you at the current moment? Are you hovering around Krell? Have you gone back to your quarters? Where are you in all this?
Oh, I think once we get the carrots, all that sorted there, we start heading our way back.
Okay, so then you probably actually will meet the group halfway. Matoga, you of course can carry on to your quarters for a little bit. But yeah, Thestral, you meet with Cullen as the scribe from earlier is just kind of there cataloging the carrots and making sure that they taste right and all that sort of thing. But you have a moment to talk with the captain again.
Just really quickly, as Thestral's
Yes.
coming up, he hears me talking with the scribe, gesturing to one of the blue carrots, being like, "No, you got to try it. It tastes really good."
Roll me a presence and medicine difficulty of 1.
All right.
You don't have a focus either.
Oh gosh, no. Actually, I do. I have spicy carrots.
It's a new focus.
Yeah. It's gonna come up so often. Trust me.
You actually get the 1 success. So yeah, the scribe is going to be like, all right, if you're sure. And she takes a bite of the wasabi carrot, and very much similar to your reaction, Krell, she's like, you know, this isn't bite. This isn't half bad. I think if we added it to a dish of ours, that could be a very interesting bite again. Very interesting flavor.
Right? Between chomps of his final carrot.
So
Just
that's
stares
all
at both of them.
Thestral's just bemused that the two members of our senior staff that see themselves as the least likely to be involved in diplomatic situations in their own ways have somehow, in such a beautiful synergy, contributed the most to this mission. Krell, please don't kill the Legionnaire.
What? I don't know what you're talking about, Lieutenant. This
It was a joke, sir.
this fine individual just appreciates good food.
Well, they do say variety is the spice of life, and apparently spicy
Spicy
it is
carrots.
too. Yes. Where's the? Do you know where the captain is, Commander?
Is he with me?
Yeah, he's 5 feet to your
Out of-
left.
Oh,
I,
well,
po-
then I
I
take
point
back my
five. I point 5 feet to my left with the carrot.
Oh, and I feel around for a second, and Opus
Oh right,
catches
yeah.
up
No,
with me.
I grab your hand and just make it so you're pointing to him.
That's okay. It's Opus hadn't caught up with me yet, so Opus will perch on my shoulder at just a moment. Oh, Captain, Commander Matoga and I have much to report to you, sir.
Well, I'm all ears. Go ahead.
Commander, do you want to do the honors, or shall I?
Well, I think we got a little confused, or at least I'm a little confused. So, would have Matoga stayed to give his report, or would he have just kept going to his quarters to take a breather?
Yeah, but Toga's gonna, be unconscious for like 18 hours or something, because it's very stressful.
Okay.
But he's not there unless he's summoned.
Okay. Captain, normally I would let Lieutenant Commander Matoga tell you what's going on, and I know it's protocol for him to do that, but please believe me, he is not behaving insubordinately. He has earned his break. He did tremendously well for us. Not only was he able to quell the situation with Inachus, but he was able to humble Inachus in front of their leader, the Legatus Estradia, and convince her to maintain relationship with the Federation. In fact, she is coming here in about 50 minutes to meet with you personally.
Oh, good to hear. If you can make a full report about what was all said, so I'm not left in the dark, that'd be great.
Yes, sir. It'll all be included in my mission report.
Okay. So 50 minutes.
49 minutes and 30 seconds, sir.
Right. Okay. Well, if you want, you can go back to the ship and have a nice little relax as well after, or before you make the report.
No, sir. I think I'll get working on this report. I'm not good at putting things off.
Understood.
All right.
So do we
So
just
we're
stand
gonna-
around here then for the 48 minutes and 40 seconds?
Yeah, that was gonna be my question: is are you literally just gonna stand at the bottom of the gangplank for the next 48 minutes, or are you gonna just have someone waiting to come then fetch you?
Colin will probably just wait.
I like to imagine it's kind of one of those like old sage things where you're just kind of like leaning on your cane and stoically looking off into the distance.
Oh, before I leave, there was one last thing I want to ask Colin. So, Captain, I'm curious. How often do you think about Rome?
Well, gambling, sometimes I do.
That sounds like there's a great story there.
Just someone owes me some gold.
Are they in a position to give you that gold?
I think he's still around, yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, that is going to be the topic of our lunch on Tuesday.
Sounds good.
I'll see you on the ship, sir. Good luck. If I'm needed, please let me know.
Will do.
Cal will stand there for a few minutes before kind of, addressing the captain and says, well, Captain, if you have no need of me, I have a transporter system to look at. Not before I make some more of those carrots.
Yeah, I wanted to institute a new little check. Every morning, start of Alpha shift, any critical systems like the transporters need to be looked at to make sure they don't have a hiccup like that again.
Absolutely, I can initiate that protocol. Although Federation technology has the bad habit of working until it doesn't. So
Well,
I can't promise this won't happen again.
I think I believe in your skills to make redundancies and fail safes to kick in the event that something like this were to occur. That, or you could even. How about this? How about you design a method that the transporter scans the contents to ensure it matches what was transported?
I'll see what I can do, Captain.
Okay.
Under my breath, I'll just kind of mutter, it's like redundancies, as if every piece of technology is a quadruple redundant already.
All right. Well, as kind of our final scene of the evening, then, Cullen, you're there waiting. Everybody else has returned to the ship at this point. The Legatus does come on her own. She has her helmet underneath her right arm and approaches you very respectfully. Actually stays a good distance away. You can still speak with her just fine. You don't have to shout, but she's not looming over you, if that makes sense. And she introduces herself. She says, "My name is Legatus Estadia, and on behalf of the Kentauros people, I welcome you to our homeworld. I would apologize for the mistakes of my Centurion made earlier in respecting your cultures, but I am hoping we can put that aside to move towards, as your Lieutenant Commander put, a brighter future together."
Cullen smiles. He's like, it's not the first time someone says I walk with a hobble. May I approach?
Oh, of course. I have simply stayed a good distance away so you didn't have to crane your neck up to look at me.
It's no problem. And he'll approach, and he still has that little box with him. He's going to open it, and it is it's a medallion made out of metal. So Cullen most likely crafted this, since that's one of his focuses. It is designed in 3 different types of metal: platinum and silver with a gold trim, and it is of Sagittarius.
Ooh.
The full form of Sagittarius, so the centaur with the archer, with the bow. And he holds it up, and he's like, I made this in preparation for our second contact to be as a gift. Earth has a fascinating culture and a diversity of ideas and beliefs. And one such belief at one point in time was astrology. They would assign birth months to certain icons in the sky. One of them was called Sagittarius. And I figured, since Earth had dreamed up of a centaur-like creature as a figure to follow, that it would be appropriate to show that our world's, their world, as very imaginative, creative, and always looking ahead.
So the Legatus actually looks like she's like a child being shown a planetarium for the first time, and she actually kind of holds out a hand, says, "May I?"
You may.
She takes the symbol from you, kind of flips it over a few times, takes a critical look at it, and goes, "Captain, I had some inkling of this perhaps being the case, but this is a symbol known very well to my people.
Oh, do your people ever visit Earth at any point?
Not that is contained within our records, but the resemblance, there is no questioning it.
Well, I can tell you that I don't remember encountering any of your kind back then, but it's not impossible considering I have literally talked with entities that are still alive as well, some far more fictitious with their power, or fastidious, some of them more showmanship as well. What do you know the name of Apollo?
And her ears actually perk up, and they're horse ears, not regular human ears. They're horse ears that kind of perk up on her head, and she goes, Apollo, he was actually the founding member or founding god that spawned the Kentauros people.
Huh. He owes me 5 bars of gold.
And at this, her expression goes between two extremes. She's like, she's super interested, but you've also just said the most blasphemous thing possible. And she eventually settles on, if it's all right with you, Captain, I would like to hear this tale. But perhaps we can do it over dinner.
Certainly.
And it's at this point that Arnold comes running down the staircase going, do not worry, I've brought the correct carrots and... Oh, hello. My name is Chef Arnold. And actually the legatus perks up and goes, a chef. Then let's make this interesting, Captain. You bring a bit of your cuisine, I'll bring a little bit of mine, and we'll have a good sit down.
Sounds like a plan. You hear that, Chef? You're coming with.
He just kind of looks down at his messy uniform and goes, should I get changed first, sir?
Looks over at her like, nah, I think it's appropriate.
Very good, sir. And yeah, you have a very nice dinner. And Second Contact is very good at this point. My only question before we end the session proper is I want to go back to Matoga here. Matoga, how are you entering this mission into your log? Is it all of fear? Is it with hope? Like, maybe walk us through what your log might sound like, if that's okay.
Right. Personal log, Lieutenant Commander Matoga speaking. Of course, it would be me speaking. Who else is going to put a personal log in my... Redact all of that, computer. Personal log, Lieutenant Commander Matoga speaking. Very tired. Have single-handedly affirmed relations between the Federation and the Kentauros. Probably deserve a medal. We'll bring that up with the captain later. It was difficult for me to be confronted with a symbol of something that still holds a great deal of sway over me. When I see creatures like this in the form of a childhood fear, it weathers me. I take a great pride in my usually unflappable presentation, but well, what we fear, what we find challenging in childhood has a tendency to persist into adulthood, and well, when the object of your fear is also very good at traditional military conquest, it is a compounding factor. But it was good to know that, unlike previous times in my life, that I had people in my corner. And I mean that sincerely, not people who were standing behind me simply to ready a dagger to be placed between my shoulder blades. These people seem to, and again, I'm not 100% convinced yet, seem to care about my well-being and the well-being of this federation. And so, despite my fears, both of horse people and of, well, trust, I suppose I shall give them the benefit of the doubt. Well, as they say, man muss mit den Wölfen heulen. The hell was that? Computer, did you turn on the? Is there a translation circuit on?
Ah.
I see. Well, what I meant to say was man muss mit den Wölfen heulen. All right, tell you what, this log is over. Matoga out.
Oh, and I think that's a perfect way to bookend the session. As long as you didn't just cuss out the entire German population, I think we're good.
No, I didn't. I said basically the equivalent phrase in German of "when in Rome, do what the Romans do."
Ah, I applaud you doing that little bit of extra translation. Well done. But yeah, one thing I want to ask real quick is how did you all like the GMing style of this session? Because what I wanted to try with this session in particular was more of a snappy, like, hey, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? You know, what are you contributing to the scene? It was a little bit awkward for me because I was trying something new, but I want to get some honest feedback on whether you liked it, you hated it, what could be done differently. Because again, I'm trying to evolve my GMing style because it's one of those things that I've noticed I'm a little bit passive at times, so I'm trying to be a little bit more active, if that makes any sense. But just kind of an open forum and totally honest opinions. I will not be offended if you hated it.
It's what I do with my GM games. So I support.
Yeah, no, I liked it. Me as a player, though, when someone asked me that, they're like, "Oh no, put on the spot." I'm gonna think of the little Nash Rambler.
Okay.
I like
So
it.
no, I like it. Yeah.
I'll say I like it. I think you're good at checking in with each of us normally, E.
Mm-hmm.
This is an interesting approach because not only you're checking in with us, but you're also asking us to think in our character,
Mm-hmm.
which is a nice added dimension.
Okay. And Hex, I already know you hated it, but how did you hate it?
Oh, in a visceral sort of irrational kind of way. Other than that, fine.
That's actually glowing recommendation from someone like Hex, so I'll take it. I gotta ask though, real quick, was the horse thing on the spot, or was that actually a legitimate part of Matoga's backstory?
The horse thing was on the spot.
I love it.
Things that, yeah, I've had some as a player, as a human being, I've had some personal challenges as of late, so I wasn't feeling necessarily in Matoga's normal vibe. But then when the centaur people thing came to mind, I was like, okay, I can spin this in a way that will feed into my current like emotional bearing, right, and make it make sense.
No, and I thought you did a wonderful job of that.
I was muted when the reveal that you were all tense and everything was from horses, and I laughed my ass off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a perfect subversion.
Yeah, definitely.
To be fair, horses are terrifying.
They are.
They are.
Really are.
Powerful, terrifying creatures.
Yeah. No, the amount of videos you can see online of people going up to wild horses, be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna pet the
Yeah.
big pony." It's like, oh, he could screw your day up so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for a lovely game. I'm sure as soon as I toggle off Twitch, you'll yell at me proper. But for now, YouTube, this is where we're going to say goodbye. Twitch, stick around because we're going to raid somebody. But YouTube, we'll see you later. Bye, YouTube.